Hinderer, Chris Reeve, and Strider knives, the big three, the OGs of the knife world. Who's going to make your cut to pick up? Stay tuned. Hey YouTube, this is POV Knives coming at you with another video. We got the OGs of the knife community here, the knives that everybody thinks of when they start spending more money and want to get something that, is a collector piece and can also be a user. Hinderer knives, Chris Reeves, Strider knives. These were kind of the OGs of what I guess has become the mid-tech community. Production knives that are done on a custom level. High quality. Obviously, these are only 3 models, one from each maker, so that we can kind of discuss which line of knives and which maker should you start to look at as you start to think about buying one of these guys. Well, that really depends on what you want. Kind of the quirks of these to kind of break them apart into categories. If you want a flipper, you've got one option. You're going Hinderer. Hinderer, it's all about the flipper, even though they make no flipper versions and they have thumb studs. If you want something that has some action to it and has some options, which we'll talk about, you're going with the Hinderer. If you want washers, you've got a couple of options, but we can break these down by action as well. Chris Reeve, everybody knows, you're getting that smooth hydraulic action, that soft glass on glass rollout. If you flick a Chris Reeve knife, you better not be in front of a Reeve. That's not what they like to see. That's not how they're meant to be opened, even though you can do it. They're meant to be just kind of slow rolled, and they're smooth and enjoyable that way. I got caught there. Don't wear gloves when you're slow rolling. Looking at Strider, still on washers. There's some thick guys in there. The camera wants to focus today. I guess we're going to give up on that. But it's a different feel. It's not glass on glass. It's a looser action. Definitely flickable. You can get your Spidey flick in there. Definitely their own design. Strider's kind of famous for this forward choil, this nice graceful arc that's got going on. You've got some options, but they all kind of look like this, which is okay. This is the Strider signature look. Starting to dig deep on all 3 of these. We can just kind of start here because we're on the Strider. Some of the options you can get this front scale aluminum, titanium. You can get it flamed, unflamed. This is G10. It's the gunner's grip, which I like. If you can see, it's got a nice curve to it, which is really comfortable. And the way they mill these, it's almost like half an integral. This camera's killing me today. There we go. You can see that's all one block. That's not a backspacer. So I like how they do that. It's pretty cool. The way it meets up, it's seamless. It's done really well. What really gets me on the Strider is the aesthetic. I think if you get a Strider, you got to go with the tiger stripe. Again, signature look, signature thing. You can get them flat ground and hollow ground. This is hollow ground. The flaming, again, is kind of a Strider staple. That is all flaming. That's not Cerakoted on. It's really cool how they do that. Some of the downsides or quirks that I would say that you need to be aware of is material-wise, you're getting something that hasn't really aged well, hasn't really been updated. This one was bought pretty recently. This is an SMG. It's kind of the standard EDC size Strider. It's a good size. Pretty comfortable, easy to carry. But the steel on this guy, this $800 knife, CPM 154. That's not Magna Cut. That is a older steel, and that's just something you really have to accept. You might find some steels out there. I mean, I've seen them come out, usually from other OEMs, like Medford did some collaborations and stuff like that. You'll see it in 20CV, M390, but really, you're going to get stuff like this. You're going to get like your CPM 154s. That's just kind of the reality. Lock stick. This one's pretty good. This is probably the best out of all the Striders that I've had, but I've had Striders where no crap to break it in. I'm two-handing it popping it out, closing it, really trying to work it in. I don't know if they didn't carbonize the lock faces and they've just started to do that, but it's just a signature of Strider. I think they tried saying for a while that's a safety feature, so the blade doesn't close on you. Like, we want them to have lock stick. It's for your safety. I don't think that's true. I think that's just something that they need to work on. But people will go as far as to say that, you know, if it doesn't have lock stick, it might not be a real Strider. Even this one again, it's the best one that I've had. It's got just a little, listen, hear that? Hear that click? It also can flex in if you're using it. Listen again. Hear that? It's kind of the way knives were made, I don't know, 15 years ago, and they're still doing it. So just kind of a quirky thing. Other thing that's quirky, proprietary hardware. You do need, I think it's a spanner bit to get that guy out. They're easy to find. You can get them at a hardware store. It's not like you're paying $500 for a sheer Gorov customized driver or anything like that. But that's the Strider. Again, some people will say they're overpriced. I think that's probably true, especially from a spec standpoint. Again, it's steel. But if you look at the amount of work that goes in, they're doing this, right? Even ZT charges more for a Tiger stripe. The way this is milled out, the G10, this isn't just a slab of G10. This is molded and sculpted. The flaming, right? To do that in a way that doesn't spread and like a smudge and it still looks good, all that takes a lot of work. I think the price isn't too far off, honestly. Chris Reeve knives, I got a full video on these guys. Probably my favorite maker. We've talked a lot about that hydraulic action, right? We've talked about models. Go see that full video. I think it's really good. Something definitely to check out if you're choosing a Chris Reeve. Chris Reeve invented the frame lock. So it's the Chris Reeve lock, right? So they know how to do it. They know what they're doing. Very quality pieces, always locked on, easy to disassemble, easy to clean. Really, especially in this traditional bead blasted titanium, really tacky feel, gets a nice patina on there as you use it. Usually comes with a lanyard that I usually cut off because I don't like lanyards, but if that's your thing, they'll be there. What can I say? I mean, it's probably the most iconic of the three, and it's the one everybody kind of thinks about when they think about getting a really nice knife. The Hinderer, probably what sets them apart the most is the variations. So this is a XM18 3.5, but it's a fatty. They make regulars, they make fatties, they make skinnies. It's a beefy guy. That's like Medford thick. Fatties are really hard to find. This one's really cool. It did not come with the titanium scale. This is something that I had to pick up aftermarket. Hinderer makes these things. If you want something that you can design and make your own, if you want to pick out your scale, your hardware, you want to change all kinds of stuff. I think they even sell different color and different types of over travel stops, different clips with all kinds of stuff. You want a Hinderer if you want to customize your knife. That is really what they're geared towards. Even the action and the system in here, they call it the tri-way system. You open the guy up, they give you different sets of washers and bearings. You can get skiff bearings, you can get taco bearings, you can get the action you want out of it. This one's on phosphor bronze, and it's great. It flips like it's on washers. It's got a controlled descent that, you know, is kind of like a skiff knife, which I'll have a review coming on, or even like kind of like a Shiro, obviously not as smooth because it's not bearings, but it's just this really smooth phosphor bronze. When you have them on bearings, you can get them fall shut. You really can get what you want out of it. They do all kinds of things. I mentioned the no flipper version. They tuned the D10 on that, so it's easier to thumb flick out with the thumb studs. All different blade shapes. This is a Warncliffe. I think that looks extra cool on the fatty, personally. Clip, reversible for tip down or tip up carry. Unfortunately, not right and left hand. None of these really are. But if you want to customize, there's your guy. So to sum it up, you want to roll your knife out and have it hydraulic, Chris Reeve. You want something that's like the old school Strider look with old school materials and craftsmanship, go for the Strider. If you want to customize, you got to do the Hinderer. You want a flipper, you got to do the Hinderer. They're all great knives. Again, my favorite, it's always going to be Chris Reeve. There's just something about them, but I'm glad that I own all three. All right, so if you guys could, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Let's talk in the comments about who's your favorite maker. Give me some stories, and I'll see you in the next video.